Hi, thanks for tuning in. This is a video, we're going to be talking about the current storms that are battering the UK, alright? Just been watching the news on and off some of the afternoon, and it's not looking good. I thought personally it was just a small area of the country like Cumbria, but it's worse. It's Scotland and some of Southern Ireland are getting it as well. And the word around the campfire is from the Met Office, it's going to get worse. And they are currently working in conjunction with the UK military to try and alleviate some of the problems. Now, I'm not going to be quoting any statistics, okay? I just don't like to do it because it's just guesswork mainly, but there are thousands, I don't know if it's tens or hundreds at the moment, of homes in the UK currently without power, alright? And this made me think about an instance a while back. It wasn't that long ago, a few months ago. Our local street had a power cut and it was down for about 3 to 4 hours. Personally, from where I've been living for a long amount of time now, that's the longest period without power. If it did go probably once or twice a year, we're talking about half an hour and it's not a problem. But for it to go to 3 to 4 hours, that is, okay, think about stuff now, because you don't know when it's going to come back on again. Okay, nothing's planned. It's not like back in the 70s where you had planned power cuts so you could prepare for them. So when the power goes off, you don't really know when it's going to come on. So all of these people who have had their power cut all over the country, as I say, it's probably hundreds of thousands, okay? It's not good. And if you haven't prepared for any of this, it's just a lot of problems, okay? Living near the coast, we're always prepared for Floods Dec, okay? From the Environment Agency, it tells us make sure that you've got sandbags, etc. We've got standard operating procedures, really. But I was watching the news recently, and this poor old woman, she was in the house, and she had about 3 inches of water come through all over her ground floor of her house. First time it's happened to her, so it's a new experience for her. And she said that was bad in itself, so she started moving things off of the floor. And she said within 15 minutes that had risen to 3 feet. So think about it. In your house, whether you live in a bungalow, a caravan, a house, detached, semi-detached, terrace house, whatever it is, just think 3 feet. That is a significant height. Okay. What's going to be affected by that amount of water? Anything like your DVD players, your TV, that sort of thing. You've got Wi-Fi, anything plugged into power points are going to be under that water, so nothing's going to be working and it's going to be ruined. You won't salvage that equipment, it's gone. So, a long time ago, when we saw flooding in the UK, I made the decision to have 90% of all of my food preps and water preps upstairs on the first floor, way away from any risk of flooding. Now, we don't really want to be in a situation where the street gets evacuated and you end up in some sports hall with nothing, okay? And a lot of people will find themselves in that situation. My wife has already said to me, she said, I don't want to leave my home. I said, it's fine, you don't have to. If the water's, i.e. not coming up the stairs to the first floor, is really bad, I think we'd be okay. Now, going back to the blackout that we had before, that was a big wake-up call for me. Okay, it's 3 hours, and it's nothing compared to many of you might have experienced in the States, etc. But it was a big thing for me personally, okay? It was a new one on me. So I thought, that's okay, and that's not a problem. I always carry an EDC torch with me everywhere I go. Every day of the year, I carry a torch, okay? It's only a through-night TN12 thing, and when the battery starts to get low, I'll just charge it up or replace it. Always got it on me, okay? And you'd be surprised the amount of people that come up to me at work or whatever. Can I borrow your torch? Because they know I've got a torch. They don't carry one, but I do. So always have a torch, important, okay? Because the power goes off, you've had it, okay? The torch is imperative. Everyone should carry a torch, in my opinion. It doesn't have to be expensive. And also, on that 3 to 4 hour blackout event that we experienced, it was coming near bedtime. And my wife was saying, well, I need a wash. I can't go to bed without having a wash. Fine. So, okay, well, heat some water up. So, I'll come down to the store downstairs, and I've got my, it's like a paraffin dual burner stove, okay? Now, it's been playing up, and I'm not really sure what to do with it. I'm going to be giving it to a friend of mine, and he's going to be giving me a brand new Coleman petrol stove. Okay, so what was happening with paraffin stoves? You have to turn a valve, preheat the cap with some fuel in there, turn it off, and it just burns and burns and burns, heats the cap up. As the flames die down, you slowly open the valve, letting it through, pressurise, you get a nice blue flame to cook on. Perfect. That's all well and good, but for me personally, you're having an 18-inch yellow flame sooting everywhere, and that's going to be burning for about 3 to 4 minutes to preheat this so you can cook on. So, thinking, oh, this is a bad idea already, but I thought, no, I'll open the windows at least. So I open the windows, bearing in mind the whole street's black, it gets big friggin' yellow flame, and God knows what people were thinking when they looked into my house. And I'm thinking, no, this isn't good. Now, and I've heard people with similar stories about their preps for if you're bugging, etc., or you've got an emergency in the home. Looking at everything, you've got like firewood, light a fire or so. If your front room's underwater and your fireplace is there, that's gone. Unless you've got fireplaces upstairs, you ain't going to be burning no wood in your house. Okay, so forget about wood. Anything to do with paraffin, diesel or petrol stoves in the house isn't good. You have to open the windows at least. Of course, if it's lashing with rain, you're going to get water coming. It's going to be fumy and stinky and nasty. So them three cooking items indoors, for me personally, no good, off the list. And that is one fuel, which is brilliant, gas. Excellent. Now personally, in the shed, I've got one of those ceramic front plated big gas bottle heaters. Okay, so at a push, that can be taken into the house. That can be used. I've got 2 full gas bottles, a huge big propane tanks. Okay, now one of them is earmarked for the cooker. Sorry, the heater to provide heat for whatever room we decide to go in upstairs. So that's pretty much sorted. Obviously, ventilate the windows, open it a little bit to get some oxygen in, because that's just going to use up the oxygen and you'll die of carbon monoxide. It's important to vent your room. And the other gas bottle is going to be plugged into one of those, a double burner with a grill. Only a cheap thing, £20 to £40. It's very, very cheap for what it does. And what it enables you to do is to boil water, to cook your food, to rehydrate dry foods, etc. And basically, you can rough it out for a certain number of days while the power is off. You could be upstairs, out of the damp and the rain and all the flood water, etc. You'll have all of your water stowed away upstairs. Okay, you'll have all of your food preps upstairs. You'll have your heating on upstairs, and you could be able to cook all of your food upstairs. And that only leaves sanitation. Well, the only thing you can think of if you haven't got anything prepared would just be do your business into bags. Everyone should carry bags upstairs and just knock them up, tie them up. Just hang them outside if you get in bad with a smell. Okay, it's just very simple, quick, cheap solutions to get by in a crisis. Okay, now as I say, most people haven't experienced this before, and etc. But what I'm finding is quite a few people will say, oh, don't be silly, you're just frightening people, it's not going to happen. These people who think they've got a crystal ball, okay, and says, don't worry, nothing's going to happen, try not to spend time listening to those people, because what tends to happen, if something bad happens, you should, if you're clever enough, learn by your mistakes after the event. So, okay, nothing's going to happen. You could go through your whole life and nothing bad happened to you and your family. Personally, I would consider you very, very lucky, considering everyone around the planet comes to sticky situations at some point. Okay, so it's best to be prepared. It doesn't have to cost a lot. Just get a gas heater. It doesn't £20–30. It's in the house ready. Okay, when the power's gone, you're screwed. A lot of people rely heavily on electricity, and when the electricity is gone, it really does make you rethink a lot of things, especially water. Okay, I mean, if you've got really good quality filtration systems, you can filter the floodwater. It's a last resort, but you can do it. Filter it, and I'll probably boil it for quite a while just to be on the safe side. But that should kill off most of the nasties in your water. So if you haven't got any water stored upstairs, you could do that only as a last ditch resort. Okay, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to put it out there. And to tell people that there are places in the UK that are suffering, and no one really knows where it's going to get flooded. Okay, so try and do what you can. Don't be a victim. Don't end up in a sports hall with some cheap little sleeping bag and I don't know what the council and stuff are going to feed you on. Which brings me back to the woman I said earlier who got flooded. She had 3 feet of water in 15 minutes, totally destroyed the ground floor of her house where she had everything stored pretty much. It's all been damaged, ruined beyond use. And I remember the same stories in Katrina, exactly the same thing. No one come to help me. That's it makes my skin go cold when I hear that. No one came to help me. You know, people think, oh, don't worry, the council or the police will come round. When we're talking thousands and thousands of people affected, do you think that a switch is going to be pressed and there's going to be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of staff appear from nowhere to come straight to your house, to take you away, put you in a warm 5-star hotel and look after you for a week or so while your house is being drained and dried for you? Doesn't work like that. A lot of these people are on their own. And especially if you're like vulnerable, if you're elderly, you've got like health problems, or you're young, or you've got injuries, you've broken a leg and you can't move around. There's so many problems, okay? So I'm just hoping that this video reaches people and it makes people think about putting things in place, okay? Just don't be a victim, because there will be no one to help you. Eventually there will, but in the meantime, take it from me, people do die in flooding, they do, okay? You trip up, you drown, you get stuck in the drain, all the rest of it, hypothermia. It doesn't bear thinking about, okay? So it's not a doom and gloom video, it's a positive video, just putting it out there for people to please think, what would you do if your house was all of a sudden 3 feet underwater? What would you do? Any advice, hints, tips, put them in the comments below to help everyone out. And that's pretty much it from me. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay funky.